I just want to thank you everyone for joining us. Good morning. I hope everyone is enjoying their Friday morning, and thank you for sharing it with us. Um, Today is another of a Simple Fun 360 Education Week webinar. We'll be going through the workflow jobs, so how to optimize operations. My name is Andre, part of the training team here at BGL. And so let's get on with the show. So we'll start with a bit of housekeeping. So can you ask any questions in this webinar? So if you've joined our previous webinars, you'll know that everyone here is on listen only mode. So if you do want to ask a question, which we always do encourage to ask questions during these webinars, is to use the Q&A window, which you can find at the bottom of your screen, type in your answer, and either I or one of my team members who are currently joining us today will answer these questions. This webinar will also be recorded. So if you do miss this webinar or miss parts of it, all people that registered to this webinar will be sent the recording of this webinar to their email address, as well as this video will be posted on YouTube at a later date. So we're coming to an end of Simple Fun 360 Education Week. You can see we've gone through most of them. We only have 2 more after this. So if you are looking forward to document screens, I would suggest registering to them. I'll send a link where you can register for these ones as well. So I'll just put it in the chat now. So I just put it in the chat. So this is where you can register for all our remaining webinars as well. Also, you can see we've gone through a few others. So if you did miss them and you haven't registered and you still like to view, let's just say, the Mastering Superstream, I'll send you a playlist of where all of our recorded webinars from this week are being hosted. So you can watch this at a later date. So that link is also in the chat. Okay. So with Simple Fun 360 Education Week coming to a close, we are actually going to do an education week for Simple Invest. So that is our investment software platform. So that starts next week. So if you are a user of Simple Invest, I would highly recommend dropping by and learning what you can do. And perhaps if you don't know about Simple Invest, but you are excited to learn more about what it could be, I would also recommend dropping by to see what you can do. The following week, we are going to do a education week for CAS 360, which is our corporate compliance software. So there will be a few more webinars there for you to attend, and that'll be again on that following week. All right. With that being said, we can go through about what we're going to do today. So I'm going to start with what is workflow? What can it do for you? After that, we'll have a look at the overview and templates, so how job workflow templates work, as well as workflow entities. So workflow entities and workflow jobs are different screens where you can assign jobs to either to a job, so without an entity, or to the entity itself. So we'll talk about that quite soon. So what is workflow? To really best describe what is workflow, I'll start with a story. We did receive a fair bit of client feedback about how can we track jobs being completed in Simple Fun 360. So you could probably see, based on all of the topics on Simple Fun Education Week, that there's a lot of different features you can do in Simple Fun 360. So it can naturally become quite difficult to track what you've done and what needs to be completed. So based on clients' feedback, we've actually created a solution to this. So this is workflow. So this is where you can create jobs, you can put in certain tasks for a job. So if you're processing a fund, you can say create entries, put in data, and follow along those tasks to be completed. As well, you can add deadlines and monitor progress of current jobs to see what needs to be prioritized and what needs more time. So that, in essence, is what workflow is, and we'll go into the software to show you. So workflow is located on the main toolbar on the left-hand side, and all we're going to do is select workflow. This will bring us to our job. So you can see this is all of our jobs currently underway in this license. So what I'm going to do is go to the workflow overview, and here is our job templates. So these here are the default templates. Most of them are, beside the SMSF processing. That's one I made custom, but however, these ones are all available to you currently. So these are the ones that are uploaded automatically, which you have access to. So if I go to the SMSF annual accounts, you can see that there are certain tasks already being created. So you can see here what we've done is put in certain tasks, which you would assign to a fund, and you would go through them one by one. So what you can also do with this document as well, this template, is you can make a duplicate. So why would you make a duplicate? You would make a duplicate because perhaps you like this, but perhaps you want one for GST and you need a few different steps for GST funds. So what you would do is duplicate this template, press duplicate, and this is the duplicate. So it has a copy, and you can adjust the name for GST funds, and it automatically saves. What you can also do from the screen is see what is currently being used for these templates. So if I go to the usage, it will show me the usage report. So you can see with this template here, it's currently being completed for 2 of my funds. You can see what status they are, as well as what task hasn't been created as of yet, or completed, my apologies. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the SMSF annual accounts, and I'm going to assign it from here. I'm going to do a bulk attach to the Sydney Super Fund. So I'm going to press attach. I'm going to change the period date to be, keep it here. But what we're going to do is we're going to update the due date to be a relative date. So I can say the end of financial year plus maybe I can say 10 days. However, I can also change it from 10 days to 10 weeks or to 10 months. But we'll just press save for now. Press attach. And where that's just been created would be if I go to the workflow entities, I'm going to go select the drop down for the City Superannuation Fund. So show all. You can see here it's currently being assigned. So if I go here, you can see here is all of the different jobs that need to be completed, sorry. And you can see the job status. So the job status here indicates what is the current stage of the job. So it can be edited. So you can go here, it can be reviewed, it can be in progress. It has different options, but this is based on what task has been created. And so if I go to, let's just say, the triggers, you can see that once this, let's just say, sent client queries task has been completed, what will happen is it will go from job status from not started to waiting on client. If I do that, you can see here it's got a few. So this one would have been in progress, and this one again waiting on client. All right. So what we're going to do, so that's how to assign a default template, but perhaps you would want something more customizable, something that you would want for yourself, more personal to your fund. You would go back, go to workflow overview, add a job template. What we're going to call it is, we're going to make one for work papers. So I'm going to enter the name, put in the description, say tasks to be completed for work papers. So again, we can duplicate this contact. We can put an assignee, but however, if it's a template, you probably don't want it to be assigned straight away because perhaps you're going to assign it to different people as different jobs. We can put in the default start date. So perhaps we don't want it to be immediately. Maybe we want it as a financial year start or financial year end, but we'll just keep it for now. The same thing goes with the default due date. Next one is our repeat period. So currently it has no repeat. However, we can change that. So we can do it as each financial year. So once it's been completed, this task will be reopened every financial year. Perhaps you want it a bit earlier. Maybe we want it quarterly, monthly, or weekly. We can adjust it through here. So allowed entity types. So just to keep on the theme, we'll just keep it only allowed for SMSFs. So we've set it all up. The next part is to enter the tasks that need to be completed. So what we're going to just do is we're going to ensure first task will be to create entries. Press enter. We're going to generate work papers. We are going to then mark work papers as reviewed. And work papers are completed. So these are our tasks, quite easy. What you can also do is you can change them in order just by dragging them up and down, making sure you hold these little squares. Pretty simple. Also, you can put an assignee for these, but perhaps as is a template at the moment, we're going to hold off just for now. We can also put a start date. Again, for these tasks, perhaps you want it to be financial year start straight away. We'll keep it there for now. The next part is task triggers. So much like I showed you before with the task triggers, if you go to the top, you can edit it. So this one, on task complete, the job status will be to in progress. We'll keep it as that. We can do generate work papers. So next one will be, again, we can put it on hold. Perhaps we can do it in progress again. And then this one, we're going to do is we're going to change this one to awaiting auditor. However, we do have the chance to complete this task on the system event. So what does that mean? So that means that when this has been marked as reviewed, it will be complete. So when this happens in the fund itself, the checkbox right here will be automatically ticked, so you don't have to tick it, come back and press mark it as completed. And what you can do as well is for the work papers are completed, we can do the exact same thing. So we can do, once it's been completed, do it like here, and then we can, on task is complete. We can also add different job statuses as well. So if you want a custom one, you would just create a custom one through here. Again, so that's through this button here. You can create a new one. You can make it more customizable, make it more relatable for your firm. So we've completed the work papers template. I can press X. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Sydney Superannuation Fund. I'm going to add a job. I'm going to select the template. I'm going to select work papers. You can see it's in the 23 financial year. So our date is here, as well as put a due date as the perhaps financial end of the financial year. We'll press attach through here. And here it is. Now, if I go into work papers, you can see here Chris Banks has inherited because the assignee, so the Sydney Super Fund has a default assignee. What you can do is, well, you can change it. So perhaps in your line of work, for example, one staff member looks after 10 funds, and when you are going to assign a job to one of those funds, it would automatically be assigned to the staff worker who is looking after that fund. So in this case, it would be Christopher, but you can also change it to anyone as well. So I can keep it as myself. So we can go through like that. As well, in this details, so we're in the details page. So this is where you would mark the tasks as completed. What we can also do is go to the comments as well. So perhaps I want to message Chris that I've taken over this fund. So I'll say, hi, Chris. I've taken over this job. And what will happen is that it's going to send him a notification, which he can read through here. So I've got 7 at the moment, but you can see here, like this is where Chris will receive his job. So Anonymous NT has a good question. Is there a way to download the job and save it on our system externally? So I'll ask that question now. It's actually a very good question. What you can do is you can export the jobs to Excel. So what you can do, let me just go back here. If I go to here, you definitely can. It is, I believe I'll go through it a little bit later on. So I'll come back to this answer to this question. So here you can put in the comments, we have the history. So you can see perhaps once I enter entries as well as generate work papers, it'll go through and it'll say who's completed this task as well as anything additional as well. You have documents through here. What you can do is you can add a document, add a source document, just add a source document. Perhaps I want to add the bank statement for example, and this will appear right here. Yeah. So if I go back, refresh this page, what you can also do is you can filter it as well. So you can see what tasks are for me, what tasks are ready for me to start. And that's from the left-hand side right here. You can see at the moment, I've got to do mark the work papers as reviewed as well as client queries. And these are all my tasks. Press load more. See that nothing else. Here, you can see what is for me as well. And perhaps I want to see what is due for my friend Christopher. You can see Christopher has a couple more to do. And through here on the right-hand side, we have our filters. So you can see, we'll have a look and see which ones are due in the 23 financial year, which ones are currently unfinished, but you can see the ones that are completed as well through here. So it should be noted that by default, you probably won't be able to see jobs that are completed. So you would have to use the job status to find the filter job status and select complete to find all completed jobs. Okay. But yes, that is what this screen is. So you can just assign and essentially assign jobs to entities through here. All right, and we'll go and touch on the workflow jobs. So through the workflow jobs, this is where all of our jobs currently are. So they're not filtered by what entity they are. So you can see they're just all here with different statuses and show what entities are. So this probably gives you a bit of a more overview sense of what is currently being shown. So you can see here, it's where it is. You can see I've created a couple in the last few minutes or so. It shows the last task done, any comments, as well as a progress bar. Well, what you can do here as well is you can create a job and not attach it to an entity. So you can say this might be an admin job, which you can do. So an ad hoc job. So if I press job, I'm going to select create job without an entity. I'm going to say, I'm going to call this buy a coffee. Press enter. So the description is reminder to buy Norman a coffee. So this is just really showing you that you can really not just process jobs through Simplify 360 through workflow, but also any external jobs as well, perhaps an admin task or buy Norman a coffee through here. If I press enter, so I'll keep it as myself, and I can really say that this repeats weekly. So here, what would happen is that I have a job to buy Norman a coffee. But again, perhaps this might be just return emails to clients, and you can just put this as a job through here. So we'll select week starting today. So that's why you can do it. All right, and finally, what would happen if you have jobs assigned to different people, but one person has gone away? So in this situation, what we would do is return to the workflow overview. Through here, what you do is replace the user. So perhaps Christopher has left the firm, or maybe he's gone on an extended holiday, and therefore I need to complete all of his outstanding jobs. What we would do is replace the user. We'll select the old user as Christopher Banks, the new user as myself. I'll press update. Make sure that the user has access to all the different entities, but that's how the way you would do it. Okay, I have a few, I can see we've got a few questions here. I remember we did have a question about where the Excel spreadsheet is. So it is on the job workflow jobs, and we can export the CSV file. And what we can do is we can either save it in an SCV or an Excel. So perhaps I want it as an Excel. You can download this. I'll just grab the download. And this is probably perhaps a way that you can put it on your internal system database. That here. Stuart, I can see that is an email reminder to work through, reminder for workflow. Currently, there isn't. We are currently working on it. It is in the pipeline. It's a good question, which is at the moment, it is something we are going to work to improve. Beck, that's a great question. When setting up a job, is there a way to customize the due date options, i.e. relative date, place of a relative date to the financial / end of financial year? Yes, there is. So if I go back, I'm going to select the work papers fund. I'm going to do is select work papers. We have a due date here. We can put in a certain date through here, but when you're also assigning the template as well, it does give you another option of where to put it in. So again, we can put it as a relative date plus 10 days to a certain date. But in this case, because it has already been assigned, we just can't edit it at the moment.